Hey guys, good evening and welcome to yet another wonderful session at Byju's Champions. How are you guys doing today? Hi Aradhya, hi Ankita, hello Papia. Hi Ayush, good evening. I am feeling amazing that I'm back here with all of you. Yes, hi Gungun. I can see all of you are so excited. Hi Divyanshi, hi Sonali, hi Purnabi, hello Sneha, hello Harsimran, hi Tia, hi Ankit, hi Anukriti, hello Harsimran, hello. Good evening. How are you guys doing today? How excited are you about the third session for crop production? I want you to show me the excitement in the chat box with a lot of emojis, right? Go tell your friends, tell them to join the session, tell them what wonderful things we have planned for you. Yes? So go tell them, and we're going to be doing something very interesting today. Yes, I can see. Hi, Manya. Hello. I can see the excitement in the chat box. Hi, Ajay. Hello. Hi. So just give me a minute. Can we have the comment size made a little bigger maybe so that I can see the excitement all the way here? Yes, I can say Gungun is already telling me that she is perfect. I'm perfectly visible and audible. So it's come to a point where you guys know what I'm going to say next, right? Am I perfectly visible and audible? And can you see my screen? Go ahead and let me know in the chat box. Yes? Yes, all right. Hi guys. Hello. Hi Archit. Hi Adriti. Hi Sonali. Yes, okay. I can see all of you are saying perfectly there. Yes, wonderful. All right. Okay, then. Amazing, guys. Amazing. So, like I told you, tell your friends, tell them to come join the session, see all the sessions at Byju's Champions because we have a lot of interesting things coming up. And so far we've done a lot of interesting things together, right? So, we have everything packed for you. And in the previous two sessions, we have looked at agriculture, types of crops. We have learned so much more about the steps of agriculture. So, if any of you are new right here for this particular session, welcome to the class because you are in for a ride and we'll be doing some amazing things. Yes, Gungun, today we are going to be learning irrigation. Yes, Aradhya, we learned about crops, soil, agriculture, and preparation of soil. Hi, Parth. Hello, how are you? Yes, I can see all of this. Yes, hello. Hi, Prakash. All right, then. Now that we have had a look at, we've had a wonderful welcome to the class, let's start off with our session. So like I told you, we are going to be primarily doing irrigation, methods of irrigation and removal of weeds, but we will quickly also be looking at manure and fertilizers and the differences that are there. Right? So very quickly, can you all please tell me what all we learned in our previous session in sowing and manure and fertilizer? Can you quickly tell me in the chat box what is sowing? It's a very simple question and last time you all aced it. Yes. Hi Saurabh, how are you? Hello, yes. Sonali is telling me manure. Yes. All right. So Sonali, you're telling me a lot of things. So can you quickly tell me? Because I can see some of the pointers that you're putting is also about today's session. Yes, Naina, planting seeds. Very good, Ankit. Very good, Dibyanshi. Very good, Grisha. Wonderful. So we know that sowing is nothing but planting of seeds. And a lot of you have told me that we need to use a seed drill. There are various methods, right, of doing sowing. So there is seed drill. Then we know that there are various other tools such as broadcast method, and we also learnt about funnel sowing. Yes, wonderful. And we also visualize this in our explore session with the Labin app, and we played some fun games in it as well, right? Sowing is a process of growing the seeds. Very good, Manya. Very good. I can see funnel method, broadcast, seed drill. Yes. Wonderful. Now, after this, after we learnt about sowing, we also moved in a little bit and learnt about addition of nutrients. And that is why, Sonali, what you told me about, right? Manure. That is what we learnt about in addition of nutrients. Yes, Sonali, we need to classify them as good and bad. Yes, we looked at it in detail and we did the experiment as well. Yes, Neha, wonderful. Fertilizers and manure. Yes, Dibyanshi, wonderful. All right, Naina, Gungun, great going, guys. We learned about manure and fertilizers. So, very quickly, I have this small game for you. I know it is, not like the interesting games you played in Explore, but a very quick recall game that we are going to play to recall manure and fertilizers, right? So now I want you to tell me, we have 4 options that are mentioned in the bottom here, right? Can you see? And then we have 4 boxes as well. So one by one, I want you to tell me which would be the correct option. Manure is dash. Is it natural, man-made, factories or fields? Yes, I can see manure is organic, yes, natural. Answer is not. Okay, the answers are not visible. Okay, so let's quickly just give us a minute or two. Can we adjust the options? Yes, we are on it. Just give us 2 minutes. Yes, I can see natural coming in. Wonderful. So yes, guys, both of you, whoever said natural or organic, both of you are right. Because when we say organic, it is from living matter, right? And when it's from living matter, it is natural. Now, next up, can you quickly tell me, fertilizers are what? Is it man-made, factories or fields? Last class, we played a lot of games and saw animations. Yes, Manya, we did do that. And today, we will learn some new concepts and explore them. Yes. Man-made. Yes. You guys are brilliant. Of course, fertilizers are man-made. What about where can the manure be made? Can manure be made in factories or in fields? Yes, I can see some answers coming in. Manure can be made by man. Yes, it can be man-made. Okay, so guys, I think some of you are getting slightly confused here with man-made option that is there, right? So when we say man-made, that means that we are, sort of doing it, right? Like we are creating it. Yes, all right. I can see the answers. Wonderful, guys. All of you have got the answer right because manure can be made in the field. And we learned about how the organic waste that is there, a pit is made and they put the organic waste in and the decomposition process takes place and that's how we get manure at the end of it. What about fertilizers? How are fertilizers made? Brilliant. Fertilizers are made in the factories. Yes. So that was all about the manure and fertilizers that we learned about in brief, right? We learned or we had an introduction to these 2 things in our previous concept session. Now today what we are going to be doing is we will first be looking at the advantages and disadvantages of using manure and fertilizers. We will also be understanding about nutrient management. Now this is very important and very interesting as well. And then, of course, we will be doing 2 super important topics in crop production, that is irrigation methods, and we will also be looking at weed removal. So, guys, shall we get started with learning about the advantages of manure? I want you to send me a lot of emojis in the chat box. Yes, wonderful, guys. I can see all the answers coming in. Yes. So today primarily we will be learning the concepts, okay? So let us focus on the concepts for today because we've covered a lot of the concepts earlier. So let's focus on the concept today. And Papia, to answer your question, I will reveal that in the end if you're going to have games and animation. Yes, wonderful. Okay then, so let's start off with the advantages of manure. Now we know that manure is organic, it is obtained or it can be prepared in the fields and it is natural. Which means that one of the most important things is that when we mix manure with the soil, we see that it enhances the water holding capacity. Now, what do I mean by it enhances the water holding capacity? We know that water is needed by the plants, right? And we know that when it rains and, water will fall in the ground. But it's important that the soil is able to hold that water. Otherwise, if soil is not able to hold it, do you think roots will be able to absorb the water? No, right? Roots will not be able to do it. Yes, it will increase it. It will improve water infiltration and great water holding capacity. Wonderful, Aradhya. Wonderful. Well written. Yes, so she's actually covered most of it, but let's quickly go through it once again. Right. So here, as you can see, it improves the water holding capacity and it also makes the soil porous, right? So what do we mean by it makes the soil porous? Which means if water needs to enter, there needs to be some pores available, right? And we also know that there's another benefit of the pores being there. What is another benefit of soil being porous? There is a clue here in the image. Apart from water to enter, when more pores are there, what is the advantage? Yes, yes, Prakash, very good. Yes, Neha, it will aerate it. So can you quickly elaborate and tell me what do we mean by aerate, right? Can you tell me? Pores will allow air to enter. Yes, very good, Archita. Very good. Yes, it will help in absorbing nutrients, breathing. Plants can breathe. Manya, you're asking me what do we mean by porous, right? It means that there will be many pores in the soil, right? So imagine if this is a tightly packed container, right? It's very tightly packed. There must be some small pores or small openings that must be there. That is what we mean by porous. Very simple. Yes, very good. All right then. So I think some of you are telling me my voice is a bit low. Not to worry. Please just refresh and maybe increase the volume in your device. It should be fine. Yes. Hi Minansha. I hope I got your name right. Welcome to the class. Yes. All right then. So guys, this is what we mean by porous, right? It makes the soil porous, and apart from this, of course, this is a very obvious point that it increases the friendly microbes that are there. Yes, and we know how important friendly microbes are because it plays a lot of role in making sure that nutrients are made available. And lastly, it improves the soil texture that is there. Yes, so these are some of the advantages of using manure. Now, if I move on to talking about advantages of fertilizers. So, can you guys tell me some advantages of fertilizers? Can you take a wild guess and tell me what advantage would be there if we used fertilizers? Because I told you about manure, right? Hi, Ishika. Welcome to the class. Welcome. Hi, Pranjali. Welcome to the class. I hope that, is this your first class that you are attending? Hi, Kaushal. Yes, good. More nutrition in fertilizers. Yes, Manya. Saves time. Grisha is telling all nutrients are given, provides a particular nutrient to the plant. Yes, wonderful guys, wonderful. Hi Apsara, welcome. Yes, Ankita, it gives good yield. So as you can see here, most of you have got it right. Because when you add fertilizers, right, and mainly we spray fertilizers or it's usually solid or liquid in nature, right? So it enhances the fertility of the soil by providing the important nutrients like you told. Yes, Harsimran, particular nutrients, and yes, Shashi Rekha, provide nutrients in a large manner. Wonderful. So this is one of the biggest advantages because the primary nutrients, right? For example, we know what type of fertilizer is NPK, right? Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. This can be made available. The primary nutrients can be there. And along with that, it's very easy to store these fertilizers. Now, manure and all, you'll have to put in big sacks and storage becomes a problem with manure. But if you look at fertilizers, it is comparatively, I'm not saying that it is effectively, but comparatively it is easier to store. And of course, like most of you have told me, it gives a quick solution to increase the yield of the crop. Yes, very good, Priyanka. Certain kind of nutrients gives high growth, or I would say improved yield, right? That will be a more technical term that you can use. Yes, portable and easy to transport. Wonderful, Dipanjali. Wonderful. Yes, very good. Nitrogen which plants can't get directly from the air. Yes, very good, Archita. Very good. Yes, all right. So now that we've looked at advantages of manure and fertilizers, we see that when we use fertilizers, of course, there's a quick solution, right? Which means as soon as a farmer uses it, he's able to quickly grow his crops and, we get good yield. Does this mean that it is wise to use fertilizers in a large amount? Yes, hi Janvi, hello. Can you all quickly tell me, do you think it is wise? Yes or no in the chat box. Yes, Divyanshi says no. I can see a lot of you are saying no. Yes, very good. Manure is environmental friendly. Very good, Anukriti. Very good. Fertilizers damage the soil, right? All right. Okay. A lot of you are saying no. Wonderful. If fertilizers provide nutrients, but it should not be in excess. Very good, Swati. Yes, because chemical composition will increase. Wonderful, Archita. Wonderful. All right then. So you guys have more or less got the answer, right? Because when we talk about fertilizers, using it in an optimum amount is good, right? But if we overuse it, right? Overusing anything can be bad. Yes, Aradhya, it will decrease the quality of the soil, or I can say that it reduces the soil fertility. And we also see that they will cause water pollution. Now, what usually happens is that when you spray the fertilizers and, we pour water in the soil, sometimes a little bit will run off into the streams and the lakes that are there. And eventually, the chemicals that are there, right, at the end of it, they are chemicals, which means that they will cause water pollution. Yes, extra use will cause water pollution. Yes, soil and water pollution. Well said, Nana. Yes, it is not just water pollution, but even soil pollution. I will add that into this. Yes, groundwater pollution. No problem, Yukta, not a problem at all. We are talking about the advantages and disadvantages of manure and fertilizers. Yes, while on the other hand, we see that Purnabi says that it will increase the pH of the soil. Wonderful, guys, wonderful. Yes, not a problem. Yes, and manure will provide humus to the soil. Okay, great. So now that we have had a look at why using excessive amount of fertilizers is harmful, we also know that at the end of it, chemicals that are being sprayed onto crops or plants that we are going to consume, which means that those chemicals will enter into our body as well, which is why it is not advisable to use them in excess. In little amounts or in moderate amounts, it will be fine. Yes, I can see Papi has put in a very interesting point about how it can cause eutrophication. So that again is interesting, and eutrophication is a very interesting concept which we will be talking about in great detail, but of course later on, not in this particular session. Yes, they are not environment friendly. Wonderful. Now, if you compare fertilizers to manure, we see that manure has a lot of benefits. Only disadvantage that I would call out would be that it lacks some essential nutrients that we require, right? Because at the end of the day, when we make fertilizers, we know that if I want X, like say X, Y, Z of some nutrient, I'll be able to get it. But with manure, because we're naturally getting it, we cannot really determine it. Yes, less in nutrition. All right, okay then. So with this, as you can see, we have looked at manure and fertilizers. We've learned about the advantages and disadvantages of manure and fertilizers. So shall we have a quick recall and do differences between the two? Because differences between manure and fertilizer again is a kind of question that they most commonly ask again on an examination front, right? Later on when you look at it, this is a very, commonly asked question. Yes, manure will increase the water holding capacity. Yes, Abhishek, they do that. Wonderful. Yes, they do that. And they're less in nutrition. Yes, good. Wonderful. So with this, if you see, we have looked at manure and fertilizer. Let's quickly recall. Manure is natural while fertilizers are man-made. They are obtained by the decomposition of biodegradable waste, while here they are composed of inorganic salts, right? We know manure can be prepared in fields while fertilizers are usually prepared in factories. And here we see that they consist of a generic amount of plant nutrients, while here they consist of high amounts of plant nutrients. And lastly, manure will provide humus and it will improve the water holding capacity. While on the other hand, when we talk about fertilizers, they will not provide any humus to the soil. Yes, all right. So here, Papi, you're asking me what are the disadvantages of manure? It is simple. In the case of manure, the amount of nutrients that are there, that will not be fixed, right? Because it depends on a lot of factors. So that would be the only thing that we would consider as a, what do you say? That would be something that we will consider as a disadvantage. I can see Anukriti is asking me, ma'am, can you ask more questions? Yes, Anukriti, there are a lot of questions coming your way, don't worry. Generic amount. So generic means in amount where it's a little amount, I would say. Or I can, if I have to make it a little more simple, right? Generic amount means in an amount where you cannot really quantify or you cannot fix it, basically. Yes. Disadvantage of easy. So again, I can see Swati is telling it's not easy to transport. Okay. But again, it depends on a lot of factors. Yes, manure is bulky. Wonderful. Abhishek, you are asking me about biological magnification. Very interesting question, Abhishek, that you have asked. So one thing I will tell you is that, again, biological magnification is a very detailed concept. But effectively what happens, if I have to give you a gist of it, right? What happens is that when these chemicals go into the ponds or, lakes that are there, eventually from one organism to another, it will get passed on because within that itself, there are so many organisms that consume one another, right? And eventually it will become a chain of it. So if I have to give you a very rough picture of it, that's what's biological magnification. So I'm again giving you a very rough picture because it's a very detailed concept. So we will be covering it later on. Yes, Vasudev, you're asking me to explain again. So can you quickly tell me what is it that you want me to explain? And again, another thing is that I will be doing a summary towards the end of it, right? So you could please, if you could wait, we will be recalling all of this in greater detail. Right. So with this, if you see, I want you to quickly give me a thumbs up in the chat box and let me know if whatever we have covered so far is good to go. Is it good to go, guys? You can send me a thumbs up in the chat. Yes. Wonderful. All right. Okay. So now I can see that so far the concept that we have covered is perfect and good to go. Now let's move on to the next bit, right? Because we have talked about manure and fertilizers. But we know that excessive use of fertilizers is not possible, right? Because it can have a harmful effect on the soil. So what are alternative ways of managing the nutrients? Can you quickly tell me what could be some alternative ways? Yes, I can see the chat coming in. Very good. Yes, thumbs ups are there. So some alternative ways. If we can't use manure, if we can't use fertilizer, what else can we do? Yes, what else can we do? Can you think of something? Because I saw this coming in the chat earlier. Yes, very good, Nana. Very good. Crop rotation, leguminous plants. Wonderful. Growing legumes. Yes, all right. Perfect, perfect. Okay, hi Sanjana, so sorry about that. Yes, crop rotation. So of course, crop rotation is something that is being used right now, but earlier what the farmers would do is called land fallowing. So land fallowing was when what they would do is after they grow a crop, right, they would just not grow a crop for some amount of time. And they would let the land replenish itself so that the nutrients can be obtained. Now this seems like a reasonable idea. But what do you think are the disadvantages of using land fallowing? What are the disadvantages? If the farmer keeps doing land fallowing, what will happen? What will happen to him? Yes, land fallow. Yes, it's called land fallowing when we allow it to replenish allow the land to replenish itself. And we need to give it some good amount of time. Yes, very good, Naina. It takes time for this process to take place. So it's not something that will happen in about, a day or 2 days. It takes long amount of time, right? So when it takes a long amount of time for it to sort of grow or for the nutrients to get replenished, it is a loss for the farmer because he has to keep waiting till the soil, has nutrients and then he has to grow it. Which is why the method that you guys told me about, that is crop rotation, is a perfect way of doing it or a perfect way of managing nutrients. So if I have to, sort of define crop rotation, we can simply define it as the alternating method of growing crops on the same piece of land or soil. Self-replenish means it will sort of get it back again by itself. So far when we talk about manure and fertilizers, we were providing the nutrients. But we know soil has nutrients. So for it to sort of, increase or bring back the stock of nutrients that it originally had, that is what we mean by self-replenish. I hope I have clarified your doubt. And I can see that Sanjana, you're new to the class, so welcome. We are doing crop rotation and we're talking about we're talking about how crop rotation is helpful. Yes, it will affect the farmer's pocket. Yes, all right. Okay. Not a problem, Disha, not a problem. I'm taking my time because these are some important concepts that are there. And as a lot of you told me, when you do this alternating method of cropping or growing crops, we see that usually we use leguminous plants such as soybeans or pea. So here itself, if you see, we can see that in one season we have corn that is being grown, but in the next season they are not growing corn itself, right? They are not growing the same kind of crop again and again. Only then we see that the nutrients will get fully utilized. So in this case, he is growing soybeans. Yes, and soybean is a kind of leguminous plants. Now, why only legumes? What is the reason behind it? Can any of you tell me what is the reason of using leguminous plants? Yes, I can see Priyanka, Kavya and Vidyarshi are giving me some examples. Yes, pea, pulses, all right. So Kamakshi, you asked me how, ma'am? So can you quickly tell me the doubt again? Because I think I have missed your doubt. Yes, Dibyanshi, they increase the nitrogen content. Wonderful. Yes, it consists of rhizobium in the root nodules. Wonderful. Perfect. Yes, Yukta, peas. Yes. Sneha says nitrogen. Dibyanshi is saying it increases the nitrogen content again. Right. All right then. No. Perfect, guys. Perfect. The way you guys are doing it is amazing because we use leguminous plants. Because if we talk about these leguminous plants, right, we see that their roots are a little special. We see that in their roots there are these bulge structures that some of you have mentioned as root nodules. And in these root nodules, what we will see is the rhizobium bacteria. Now, rhizobium here has the ability to convert atmospheric nitrogen, right, or into a usable form. Because you see, plants cannot utilize nitrogen from the atmosphere. They need to convert it to something usable. And that is where the legumes or the rhizobium that is there will help them in doing that. Yes, they have a symbiotic relationship where they are helping each other out. So the legumes and the rhizobium are friendly. They are helping each other out. They are symbiotic plants. Perfect. Wonderful. Water-soluble nitrates. Yes, very good, Naina. Very good. Yes, Aradhya, very good. They fix atmospheric nitrogen and they make the soil fertile. Right. Very good, guys. Very good. Okay, then. So now we have looked at how nutrient management can be done using crop rotation as well. Right? And this is a better way of using, sort of managing nutrients rather than using fertilizers. Yes? Now with this, we've had a look at this bit of the session where we will be looking at addition of nutrients. Now we will go into another very important topic, that is irrigation. Yes. So I can see Vaishali is asking me what is crop rotation. So Vaishali, if you could just wait for some more time because we've just covered the concept and we have a lot more to go with. I will be revising it towards the end. Yes, Papya is telling nitrogen can be fixed without rhizobium with the help of lightning. Yes, wonderful. Not to worry, Vidyashri, I will be taking up crop rotation once again towards the end. Please do bear with me. We will be doing a quick recall. Yes, all right. Watering plants for proper growth and development. Yes, very good, guys. I'll go ahead and tell me in the chat box, what do we mean by irrigation? Yes, because I can already see a lot of you telling me. Watering crops. Yes. Very good, Prakash. Very good. Very good, Nana. Very good, Aradhya. Yes. Very good. It is watering the crops, right? Or another way of putting it is simply by saying that supplying water at regular intervals. Because you cannot keep giving water to the plants, right? At regular intervals, if we give them water, then we call it as irrigation. Yes, I can see some of you are already ahead of me and you've started with sources of irrigation as well. But before we go into looking at sources of irrigation, can you quickly tell me why we require irrigation? So whenever you learn something, you need to know the why of it. Why is this process needed? Why do we need to learn about that? That is important. Yes. So can you all quickly tell me why we require irrigation? I am going to write it down because I am sure that you are all aware and you're all wonderful. Yes, I can see that some of you are telling me ways in which we get water. Yes. All right, so that plants require for the process of photosynthesis. Very good. For the germination of seeds. All right, so I'm going to write to prepare food. Shall I do that? I'll write it as to prepare food. Then, of course, I can see that for seed germination. So I'm going to write that here. Seed germination. Yes, what else? Because plants require water. Yes, very good, Ritisha. Require it for photosynthesis. Yes. Do they also need it for transport of nutrients? They require it for that, right? Protect from frost. Very good, Gungun. We need water or irrigation to protect from frost. And I'm just going to add one more point to it where we will also be protecting the crops from hot currents that are there. Yes. Because it's required for plant growth. Yes, very good, Manya. Transport of nutrients. So it is also needed for the transport of, sorry about that, transport of nutrients. All right then, I can see that a lot of you are sending me the answers. Very good, Vidyashri. Very good, Aradhya. Yes. And I can see Papya has already gone ahead and spoken about the sources of irrigation. Very good, Prakash. You're talking about transpiration. Yes, water is required at the end of the day so that the process of transpiration takes place. Yes, very good, guys. Very, very good. I cannot stop telling you how brilliant all of you are. Yes, to support the overall soil ecosystem. Wonderful, Ritisha. Wonderful. All right then. So now we've looked at some basic need of why irrigation is important, right? So now, of course, some of you have already told me the sources of irrigation. And one very obvious source is, of course, rainfall. Yes. So when there is rainfall, crops obviously get the water. Yes. Hi, Janvi. Hello. Yes, I can see suction force. I can see so many interesting concepts coming in the chat. You guys are brilliant. Yes. Very good, Harsimran, from the rain. But can you also tell me some other sources that are there? What could be the other sources of irrigation? Very good, Nana. Groundwater. Yes. Very good, Priyanka. River. Yes. When there is rainfall, to help rainfall when irrigation is done. Okay, wonderful. All right then. Groundwater, tube wells, river, pond. Brilliant. All of you are just brilliant because there are various sources of irrigation. So we have river, then of course we have some canals, we have ponds, lakes, wells. Yes? All right. Okay. Very good. Lot of water bodies. Yes, bore well. All right then. And I can see that some of you are talking about terrace farming also. Brilliant. Yes. Okay then, so now that we've had a look at the different sources, one thing you need to understand is that these are all sources of, I would say, water, right? But we need to utilize it in a way that will be advantageous for, say, crop production and for agriculture. And that is where various methods of irrigation comes into the picture. And broadly, we know that there are two kinds, where we have traditional methods and modern methods of irrigation. Yes, and I can already see a lot of you talking about the different methods that are there. So now, very quickly, before I go ahead and talk about the traditional methods, I'm sure all of you would have read in your textbook about the different traditional methods that are there and even the modern methods. Very honestly, can you all tell me how many of you all feel that, there's not a lot mentioned about it, and if you could visualize it, it would be great? Because we have different methods, right? And if you're able to visualize it, we will remember it easily. Yes? So how many of you will feel that this methods of irrigation can be slightly tricky? You can say yes on the chat. Yes, okay, I can see a lot of you are saying, all right, some of you are feeling this way. No, because even when I was studying, I used to feel that way because if I could see it, it would be easy for me to remember, right? All right. Okay, Harsimran, you are not, is there anything particular that you're not able to follow? Please do let me know in the chat. Yes, I can see a lot of you are saying yes in the chat box. Grisha has already said, I visualized it. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful, guys, wonderful. So what we are going to do is we will look at some very simple ways of recalling the traditional and modern methods of irrigation. And this concept here is very important. Yes, so let's start off with the moat system. Now we know that the moat system also has an other name, right? We also know it by another name. Can you quickly tell me in the chat box what is another name that we will give for the moat system? So Mane also says that she has visualized. Wonderful. All right. Yes. Very good, Papia. Very good. Very good, Aradhya. You're naming out all the traditional methods that are there. Yes. Pulley system. All right. Very good, Ankita. It's also known as the pulley system, right? And in this, what you need to do is to just figure out what are all the components. So here, as you can see, there is a water source. You can see that there is one big rope or a chain that is here. We have one bucket wherein we'll collect the water. And here we have the pulley. So very simple. These are just the basic components. And the wire is taken across the pulley. And that's how, like in the wells that are there, when, we pull the rope like this and we collect the water. That is nothing but pulley system. Yes. So here we can do it manually, or here as you can see the farmer has tied it to a bullock and he is understanding it, or he is sort of getting the water, right? So this is what we mean by pulley system. So whenever you're thinking about pulley, always relate it to a well and how it would be, right? Because once the water is collected, it is then poured off. Yes, brilliant guys, brilliant. So far moat system is clear. It's very simple. And of course, with traditional methods, we know that there's a lot of manual labor which is involved. So that will definitely be there. Yes, all right. I can see that a lot of, texts are coming in the chat box. Yes, very good, Gungun. Okay, I can see that it is clear. Okay, so moat system is clear. Now, next up, we have chain pump. Just look at it. This in itself will help you understand better. Chain and pump, which means that there is a chain, we have a water source, right, or a water body, and there are many buckets. Unlike the previous one that we saw, there are many buckets and there is one wheel here. And what you don't see is that there's another wheel at the bottom inside the source. And here you have a farmer who's rotating one wheel up and down so that, it is constantly collecting water. Yes, very good, Aradhya. There are several circular discs which are positioned to form an endless chain. So simple, as you can see, right? Always think of it like an ellipse. You've seen an ellipse or a circle, right? Wherever you start, it will keep coming back like a merry-go-round. On and on and on, it will keep going. So similarly, all you need to think about it is in that way, right? And as you can see, when compared to our mode system, this is more efficient because why? Why is chain pump a better system than moat? Can you quickly tell me? Yes, I can see Nana's already told me that it is more efficient. Yes, fast, but a lot of laborers required. Yes, I do understand that. It is more efficient because it's faster. And it is faster, why? Because you see that, more buckets are connected, right? So when you imagine 10 buckets are connected at one go, from 10 buckets you will get water rather than from one single bucket. Comparatively less labor, but still, lot of labor is involved even in chain pump. That is one thing you need to understand. Yes, lot of time and effort is required. It has more buckets. Yes. All right then. 10 in one work. Very good, Sneha. Very good. Yes. All right then. So now we've looked at chain pump. Now let us move on to Dhekli system, right? So in Dhekli system, you see, it's a very ancient system when compared to the others also, where you have a rod, right? And you have like a load which is connected, or a heavy rock, and a fork-shaped or a Y-shaped, rod that is kept. And as you can see, there is a wire and a bucket connected and a water source here. So basically, you imagine, it's like a seesaw, right? Seesaw will always be fallen on one side, no matter what. Then when you sit and different weights are there, it will go up and down, up and down. That's exactly what happens here. Yes, I can see some of you are new here. So welcome to the session. We are looking at irrigation and we will be doing a lot of interesting things in our upcoming sessions as well. Yes, Pooja, heavy load on one side. Perfect. Person has to take water using bucket and then pour it onto the field, causes water wastage. Yes, very good. So this is what happens in a Dhekli system. So always have some analogies that you can, sort of relate it to, makes it very easy to remember. So Dhekli is our seesaw. Then after that, when we look at Rahat, we see that the Rahat system is slightly more advanced, right? Because here you see we have one horizontal wheel and one vertical wheel like this. And as you can see, a bullock is tied to it and he's going round and round. Lot of time and effort is required, yes, and they have to work very long. Completely agreed with you. And here, as you can see, as they go round and round, this will also get initiated. Again, more amount of water gets collected. Yes, use livestock as labor. Yes, very good, Aradhya, very good. Yes, Dhekli system can be used only where there are lakes. So preferably they use it where there are mainly lakes and rivers that are there, but not, of course, like small streams that are there. More energy is wasted. Yes, it is more efficient than the other traditional methods. I do agree with that. It is like pulley, but it's not exactly like pulley. So that is important to understand, right? Why do we keep a large stone on one side of the Dhekli system? So Grisha, again, think of a seesaw, right? It needs to go up and down. So on one side, it will be heavy so that if we pull, it can take us down, right? So that is why we have it. It's almost like an up and down kind of thing, like a seesaw. Very simple way. Yes, it is efficient, but again, lot of labor is involved. So effectively, if I have to list down the disadvantages of, traditional methods, you all have sent it to me in the chat box, yes? So the chain would be made of some very durable material. I am not very sure, Ritisha, what exactly it is made up of, but I'm pretty sure that if it has to constantly keep moving, it will be made of something very strong and thick, right? Yes. So now if you see, most of you have listed down the disadvantages of traditional methods, that it has uneven distribution of water, right? Because again, it's not like it's evenly getting distributed. There is a lot of uneven distribution, so it could eventually lead to water logging, where there'll be puddles of water here and there. And when there's too much water also, it's bad for the crop, right? Yes, sufficient water will not reach the crops, it will not grow. Wastage of water, perfect. And as all of you have told me, a lot of manual labor, not just by the farmer, but by the animals as well, right? So much effort that they need to put into the whole thing. Yes, more effort. Yes, perfect, perfect. Wonderful, guys, wonderful. So with this, if you see, we have modern methods which were done so that we could overcome the disadvantages of the traditional methods that are there. And the first one that we have is sprinkler method. Now, sprinkler method is usually used wherein it is used for uneven lands that are there, right? So for uneven lands, or in where there is not sufficient water that is present. So when there's not sufficient water or uneven lands, that is where we will be using it. So guys, just 1 minute. I think the chat box has gone in front of me. So can we just fix this, please? Yes. Sorry, I was not able to see the messages for some time. It was not there on my screen, guys. Yes, I can see this. A lot of you are telling modern methods are sprinkler system and drip system. Yes. Perfect. So sprinkler system, where do we use it? Uneven land and when there is not sufficient water available. So we have these perpendicular lines that are there. Yes. Lot of perpendicular lines and there are rotating nozzles so that it will sprinkle water all over the surroundings. And this is something you would have seen in gardens and all of that, right? You would obviously find it in gardens. And there is equal distribution of water. Yes, very good. Now, on the other hand, when we talk about drip system, we see that it is something where water falls directly to the root of the soil, drip by drip. And no, water does not get wasted because you're providing the right amount of water to the roots drip by drip. So this is very important. Yes, we will find it in parks and gardens as well. And it is a method by which, yes, very good Dibyanshi, very good. So in this case, some of the advantages of using drip system is, of course, that there is no wastage of water, saves labor and time, and of course, the most important thing is that we see that the nutrients that are there will be able, the plant will be able to absorb it properly, and absorption of minerals also takes place. Yes, very good guys, very good. I can see a lot of you. Drip irrigation is used in places where there is scarcity of water. Very important point. Thank you so much, Manya. I had missed that point, but you definitely caught it. It is used in places, or it is wise to use it in places where there's not enough water. So we utilize water properly. So guys, with this, we have looked at irrigation. Yes. So very quickly, I have a question for you where which of the following is not a traditional method of irrigation? Is it A, 1 Rahat, 2 Dekli system, 3 drip system, or 4 moat system? Which is not a traditional method. Best technique for watering crops. Very good, Harsimran. Very good. We require a lot of water for sprinkler system. Well, compared to drip system, yes, we will require more. Yes, very good, guys. Very good. Yes, keep it going. Wonderful. I can see that a lot of you have got the answer right. It is drip system because drip here is a kind of modern method that is there, while on the other hand, these three are traditional methods. So guys, so far we have had a look at the different kinds of irrigation system. Are we good to go? Send me a thumbs up, or send me an emoji in the chat box to let me know that we are good to go and whatever we have discussed today is clear. Yes, I can see a lot of the emojis coming in. Yes, very good, Ranjan, very good. Amazing, amazing, good to go. So guys, I know that we have had a look and actually a very detailed discussion about a lot of topics, which is why the next topic that we will be looking at would be removal of weeds, but sadly we do not have any time because we have another teacher waiting for a class. So what I'm going to do is not to worry, because if you see, let me quickly run through all of this, because in tomorrow's session, so I am coming tomorrow, right? And in tomorrow's class, we will look at removal of weeds. So not to worry, please be there in tomorrow's class and we will be discussing it in great detail. So very quickly in our class today, we looked at manure and fertilizers and we learnt about how nutrient replenishment can take place with the help of what? It can take place with the help of crop rotation or land fallowing. And we also learned about irrigation and the types of irrigation, how we have modern and traditional. And we learned about all of this in great detail, right? So and I can see some of you are asking me for the homework question. Yes. So the homework question for today is, how do the irrigation requirements of a wheat crop differ from that of paddy? Very quickly. How do the irrigation methods or the irrigation requirement or how much water requirement for wheat would differ from that of paddy? Let me know in the chat box and I'm going to be waiting for your comments because you know that I will read out the top comments in tomorrow's session. Yes, I am coming live tomorrow with Explore with Byju's, where we will look at methods of irrigation and we will also be learning this part that we missed out today, that is removal of weeds. And I will be coming live at 7 p.m. Manya, you're asking, you don't know what increase of yield means? Very quickly, it means that more amount of the crop will be grown, right? So not to forget, Tell your friends about the session. Tell about the new channel that we have because we have you covered. Like, share, and subscribe. The free trial classes are there, or the link is there in the description box. Please do try it out. We have some wonderful things there for you. I had a lot of fun in today's class. I am hoping to see you very soon again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Bye-bye and have a nice day.